Assalamu alaikum. So letter M is in this series is prescribed for mental illness generally, but a little bit from a different perspective. Perspective of a person who's living next to mentally ill person, who is caring for mentally ill person, who is a parent, who is a spouse, a brother, a sibling, um, or maybe a carer. So if you are in position of caring or living or being a family member of a person who is depressed, has anorexia, is anxious, has panic attacks, has schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, OCD, experiencing panic attacks, um, going through recovery of any trauma of any type, you name it, you've probably came to the right place. I wonder if by any chance you were going through phases. Maybe it is the case that you were worried a day and night for that person, but also you were angry. Angry because you didn't know where to get help from. Angry because another person wasn't willing to get her help, or maybe come clear or conscious about the problems. You had no one to talk to, therefore, you might even find yourself isolated. Maybe even questioning yourself, am I right thinking that this person has a problem, or is it me? Am I right to think that you might even feel scared for the safety of your health, another person's health, and anyone in between involved, meaning children? Am I right to feel that you were starting blaming yourself and maybe, going into game, what if it shouldn't have happened? Should I knew better? Am I right to think that there are times when you feel mentally drained and physically exhausted, and it feels like you cannot bear any minute longer? Am I right to think that on the outside you come out as a very strong, influential, inspiring person, but inside of you something is cracking? Does it feel maybe that you lost something private? Can I help to name it? Maybe you lost yourself, your old lifestyle, because you have those new responsibility. Your relationship with that person has changed, therefore you had to adapt. And another person has little possibilities to adapt. Another person is dictating how this relationship is going. Am I right to say that you were thinking of changing this relationship in maybe a distant sense, or maybe separation, or maybe even divorce? Am I right to think that maybe you were imagining that you are enough, like putting yourself in the savior mode? If I am, I want you to know that you are not isolated. Example, all of us care of people who are going through mental health problems. Um, we are affected by the same reactions. And I think the most important point here is to, first of all, embrace yourself in knowledge, understand what is it that you're fighting here with. Go on the internet, check with the doctor, encourage another person to go with you for a checkup to your GP or other professionals. Understanding what is it that you are dealing here with gives you options, and maybe solutions. You wouldn't find it by yourself. You need to also understand that although it is very helpful for you to listen, for you to care, for you to be invested, for you even maybe to pray, for you to change your life around that person in certain situations, as much as it is helpful, At the same time, it is another person's journey to go through. And sometimes you are not enough. Sometimes it's a case of taking medication. Sometimes it's the case of tapping into a talking therapy groups or maybe rehabilitation centers. I want you to understand that forcing another person to change is never a solution. Sometimes we find our parents not listening to us, and maybe it is evident or even recognized that they're going through depression or post-traumatic stress disorder, yet because they're holding this taboo about mental health, they don't want to admit. And you have to find new ways to respond and live with them, respect them, and care for them. You cannot win that battle, and it doesn't have to be a battle. Your position perhaps is just to be there, giving them comfort, giving them acceptance. Maybe changing the way you speak will help. So let's work with the I statement. Instead of saying you are changing or you should have gone to doctors, maybe you can express yourself by saying, I would really like you to consider going to the doctors. It sounds different, doesn't it? You can try saying, I wondered, how would you feel about going for counseling? It changed. It already changed the intonations and the intentions because you're caring for that person just by rephrasing, reforming that sentence. Express yourself, and I don't mean anger, but say it really worries me. I am full of concerns. Make sure that another person understands that you are fully invested, also emotionally. And the most importantly, don't forget about yourself. It's probably easier to say than do, but in the midst of everything that's going on in your life as a carer, you need to also check if you're eating properly, if you're sleeping properly, if you're oxygenating your body properly. Do you have support system? You are a support system to that particular person, but do you have a support system? Have you ever found yourself in an environment where you can exchange the same experiences with another people who are going through the same thing? So you finally thinking, right, I'm not the only one here. All right, so whatever I'm going through actually has a pattern to it. I hope that was helpful. I will see you in another video. And next week, don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel